Um, I guess it's a part of the story. It's important to say. I'm not sure. For me, it's important. I feel I've matured into it. I don't know, cooked like food. It takes a while
Yeah.
to cook myself into it. And I think, you get like a bag of tools and it's growing and again, like I said about the connection, there's something very internal that I can tell the story, but at the end of the day, it's mine. First of all, it's mine. So I know it. I like it that way. Yeah, it wasn't quick. It wasn't quick. Hi,
Hi, good morning, Amnon.
good morning.
Or is it it's afternoon in Tel Aviv?
It's morning for me.
Okay.
It's 12. I don't know. It's still morning. Yes.
Okay. It's so
How are
great to
you?
meet you here on Zoom.
Yeah, always better in person, but very nice to have it quick and easy on Zoom now that we're far away.
Exactly. Yeah. I absolutely love your art. What you do with the sewing machine, your pictures that you do, and I saw that on Instagram, and I just think you're a genius.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. It's fun. I don't know. Lately, the Instagram has grown a bit from my side, and I got a lot of great reactions, and it was funny in a way because it's not really the language I speak, the Instagram and the social media. But it's fun. It's very nice to hear it. Thanks
Yeah.
again.
It because I know social media. It's some people think it's not so positive, but the thing is, otherwise, we can't see all these things. I mean, I would never have known about what you do, and I've actually never seen anybody do it. So, where did you learn to do these pictures, these sewing pictures?
Um, I've learned it myself. I can go with you through this path or adventure that I had in my life
Yes,
to get
please.
into it. But basically, it just happened. That's the title, let's say. Um, I studied mathematics. I worked as a software engineer for a few years. That's a long time ago. Yeah, this is about 2000 2000. And after a few years, I quit and I went traveling. And while traveling, my hands were really happy to do stuff. That wasn't a surprise. I always like to do things with my hands, whether draw or sketch or embroidery, whatever. And through this travel that went on for 2 years, I happened to be in some places where people would maybe buy what I do or maybe order what I do. And this really helped me want to give it a chance to do something with my hands in my life. And when I got back to Israel after these 2 years travel, I was looking for something. I did a lot of embroidery, and a friend gave me a sewing machine that she was getting rid of. And then I started making more the plush work. I don't know if I have an example here.
Yeah.
Uh, Sorry. So maybe this is a bowling.
Okay.
Thing.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
started sewing these. This was like a funny hobby of many plush creatures, usually technology, more like cameras and
Oh,
laptops.
really?
That was a fun hobby for a while.
Oh.
That got me to show a little bit and to sell some of this, and slowly became something that I do also for money. And through these guys, I was actually sometimes these were not good examples, but sometimes I would use the stitch on them to describe them. So let's say
Oh,
on
okay.
the laptop there would be like a window from Windows. So I was drawing on these objects, And since I like to draw, at one point I thought, okay, I can just take a piece of canvas and start drawing. And just the first one that I did was I was drawing my house. So I had like a piece of canvas and I started drawing from here, my house, then the neighbor's house, then the other. And I felt like I'm telling a story of my street and then electricity pole or a light post. And that was the first story with the sewing machine. I call it sewn sketch, but yeah. So
Yeah,
that's how it came to be.
but you don't sketch it beforehand. You just let you just go with a blank canvas and you start sewing.
So yes, that's true. The first time really set me on this path. Of course, since then I've tried to let go some of my strict rules, but the first one was just I just started and did my house and then the neighbor's house. So every time once I finished with one piece, I realized how to go on
Oh yeah.
with the picture. So I don't exactly know what is going to be, but I'm just going into it. It's a one-line drawing, so you have to sort of take care of whatever is going on in the first bit and then go on to the next one. With time, I'm a little more flexible. I don't need to, doesn't have to be always one line, but this is the idea. And yeah, I don't draw before. There's a lot of it is what happens during the drawing, and because it takes some of my control and interesting things come up that I don't always plan them ahead. And so
But
it's
it looks so meditative. You know, it looks like you are away in the picture when you do it.
yes. Ideally, it's very meditative. Sometimes I do it in the street because with time, like you can see maybe on the videos, I learned that I also like to show and to do it when
Yeah.
people see what I do. Obviously, it's more meditative when I do it just for myself when I'm in my studio working. But yeah, I can really sink into it. Same as embroidery, same as many crafts that you have to be very focused on this one point. And if I have a good story that I feel is coming out through the thread and the canvas, then I'm totally into it. It's a good connection. When I'm there, I really feel a good connection.
It's beautiful. But tell me, as a child, did you love sewing? Or
No,
where did the interest in sewing come?
I'm not sure. Not as a child. I always like to draw and to work with little, I don't know, any kind of materials, but always as a hobby. Never thought it's something that you do. Never thought I'd become an artist. That was a big surprise. Sewing, I think, firstly in my army days, when since 18 to 21, I was in the army, living in Israel. It's a habit. Uh, and I used a lot of the thread and needle to fix some of whether it's
Oh,
closed, whether
okay.
and I liked it. So I remember taking it on to the next level to make, whether it was a belt, it was very long to do these works with the needle and thread. The sewing machine would sort me out much quicker, but I had time. So I
Oh,
did,
yeah.
that's where I first remember enjoying using a thread and a needle. And then the next time I remember is on vacation. If I have like some piece of clothes that it's a bit old, and I have came across a needle and a thread, and I would do embroidery. That's already another step where it's used to create or aesthetics or something like that.
But the embroidery, did you do it just naturally? You didn't, you were not taught to do it.
No, no, that was
Okay.
always spontaneous, just what I figured. With time, I see some embroideries. I remember I traveled in India for a long time and I was looking for different embroideries and trying to imitate sometime what I see and how I do. And my mom taught me a couple of basic stitches, so I could use these. But until today, I like to do also embroidery by hand. And I usually I would go with a intuitive stitch, nothing traditional, nothing. I like it better.
Mm. But what a extreme jump from in being in the IT industry to, to sewing?
A big jump. Yeah, big long jump, by the way, because I think I quit around 2003. It took me around 10 years to do this transition. There was a long time of giving it a go and making it like a hobby, or just making a little bit of money out of this, at the same time having another job. And to call myself an artist, really, I think took me a long time, because still when I was doing crafts and having my way with creation, I didn't feel for a long. It took me a while. It took a decade or so to do the switch. But yeah, it's done.
And it's so important to also say this, that it took a long time, because I think sometimes people see what you're doing and they think it just happened, but there was a process, and there were things happened for you to get to that point.
I guess it's a part of the story. It's important to say. I'm not sure. For me, it's important. I feel I've matured into it. I don't know, cooked like food. It takes a while to cook myself into it. And I think, you get like a bag of tools, and it's growing, and it's, again, like I said about the connection, there's something very internal that I can tell the story, but at the end of the day, it's mine. First of all, it's mine. So I know it. I like it that way. Yeah, it wasn't quick. It wasn't quick.
Do you tell the story of every picture that you make? I mean, if people ask, would you tell why you made this specific one?
So basically, yes. I can always share. With time, I also make money of what I do. So sometimes the stories are not great. So I don't always. It depends on the situation.
Oh, okay.
But most of the time, I'm telling the story of Tel Aviv. Okay, that's my city. That's where I grew up. I love it and I hate it at the same times. And all of it is in the drawings. So if there's a lot of anesthetics that I see, like boilers on the rooftop, and the antennas and these ugly, messy parts, I like to show it. I like to bring it in my language is also very clean, so it brings it in another way. It's not so. There's many of that I like to say, and I was actually thinking to do sometimes these videos when I'm talking and saying what goes through my mind, because it's not always a story with a beginning and an end. It could also be just I started with one thing in my head, and all of a sudden I feel one of the neighbors put the laundry out, but it was quick, so we put it back. It's things that go in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
They also, you don't necessarily see them. It's just my excuse to want to have it in the picture. I think I'll try it one day to actually read
Yes.
out loud what I do as I do. It's just that it's very slow. Also in the videos on Instagram, I take just little pieces from the time, because it can take. Also, the little works could take an hour, and an hour maybe is too long to put on Instagram. But slowly I'll get into it. It sounds
Yeah,
interesting.
but it would be so interesting if you do that. I've watched. Do you want to show something or
I
get
thought
some?
to show maybe a picture and tell the story, but
Yes,
I'll do
yes,
one.
please. Yes, please.
So I'll do quick two. These are smaller ones. Where is the camera? Here.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, yeah.
So there's a little house. That's the house I used to live in before. The place where I used to live before. It's a very simple house. There's a little bit of laundry hanging outside, the palm tree behind, some very Tel Avivi symbols, but the main thing is this little house that used to be mine that I liked it. These kind of houses are they're not, they ruin them, they make buildings, they're sort of disappearing. It's a, what do you call it? A species that is moving out.
And I
So
can
that's
see, yeah, I can see that little house amongst the bigger buildings. So
yeah, yeah.
I can understand what you're
And
saying
also,
there.
this one is more of a Bauhaus. This is more the typical Tel Aviv, the quick ones that. So this kind of building, Tel Aviv is full of them, and they seem to me very quick. It seems to me like they build them very quickly, just so we have them already, just to make a point, to make effect. So even a little building like that, it's in my head. It has a little story. I'm going quickly to this other one. That's a boat that's based on my friend's boat. Okay, he had a boat. He worked on it for a long time. Maybe he brought it from France. It was a big story. He took it here. Never mind. He worked on it for over 10 years and until he put it back in the water here in Israel. And for his 40th birthday, I tried to draw it.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you can see, but the little waves are coming just because the machine stepped aside sometime. It's like not,
Okay.
the first time wasn't on purpose.
Oh, I
Uh,
see.
so that's a little bit of a different story because here is also the technique. There's also the story of the boat that is special for this person and for me. But also the story of the technique that just came in an interesting way and really brought something. So, okay, these are two examples.
That is beautiful. And while you were doing this, do you see the picture already in your head before you start? So the one with your little house. So was it specifically that you wanted to tell this story?
So the one with the little house comes in many different ways. Here it's between two other buildings. Sometimes you can see only the house. I have an idea when I start a picture, and sometimes it comes out pretty much like what I had in mind. Sometimes it takes a turn and go another place. And sometimes it gives me an idea, most of the time, it gives me an idea for maybe what I want to do next time. So it's like a little chain of things. So I can do things that I've done before already and similar things and little change. Um, so it depends. If I do this house that I've done it so many times, it's easier for me to realize where am I heading to and pretty much get the same result I'm having. If I'm going into something new, it's really taking shape as I go.
And then the size, do you always stick to that size?
No. No, I have bigger work. This is just good for,
Wow.
so this is larger,
Wow.
but it can go much larger than this.
Oh,
Just the one,
beautiful.
I think the largest piece I've made was 3 meters by a meter and a half.
Wow.
Was great, very challenging. I'm not sure I
Okay.
repeat this again.
Yeah.
But up to sizes of, I have bigger, larger pieces. There's something very fun about the small ones. It's quick, it happens. When I show, it's going to be small ones because it's more
Yeah.
difficult to work with the big ones. So when I'm in front of an audience, it's usually the small pieces.
Yeah, but the small ones, I think it's because it's like a photograph, it's small and it tells that story.
Yeah, it's a small memory. Yeah.
And you mentioned that you use continuous thread, or do you stop and start again?
So yeah, in the beginning, I used the continuous thread, and it was like, okay, I have to have it. Until today, it's always a continuous thread, but I'm not keen to have it. I can make one stop or another. You can usually see on the other side. I don't know if you can see,
Oh yeah.
but there's a couple of jumps here that I cheated.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it's not a big deal. Basically, it's a one line. If there's a window and another window, there will be line between them. I'm not jumping to avoid the lines that does not exist. It's a one-line drawing, but also with time I realized I don't have to be crazy for that. It's okay
Yeah,
if I.
yeah, yeah. No, that's true.
So
But I
basically,
love,
it's a one line.
yeah, I love that it's an old sewing machine. Is it
Yeah.
without electricity?
No, it is. It has
It is
electricity. It
electricity.
has a
Yeah.
little motor. It's my grandmother's machine, and
Oh,
my mom is very happy about it that I'm working with my grandmother's machine.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm trying to write a little story about the life of the machine because it came here from Scotland to Israel at 1940, and then it met my grandmother, served her for a while, then moved on to my mother. From her, my sister had the chance to work with it. My sister is a designer, so she works with
Wow.
sewing machine as well.
Mm.
And then to me, so it has like a nice story that obviously will be the drawings, the illustrations will be done with the sewing machine, and it's going to be the story of the machine. So that's the machine I work with when I show. It's both beautiful, romantic, and has this story.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's a
uh,
happy machine. I think it's a
I,
very happy machine to
I like
be.
to think so, yeah. But already my grandmother put a motor on it. It used to be mechanic with a pedal
Oh,
for the
okay.
foot, but
Mhm.
already my grandmother put a pedal and electric motor,
Mhm.
and I change it whenever the time comes. And yeah, so that's.
What? So you wanted to restore it back to without a motor or what?
No. I
Oh,
like them. I need a motor. It's
oh yeah.
impossible. I
Okay.
tried few times to work without a motor. It's more romantic, but it's impossible.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
the the non-motor, the foot pedal, mm, I felt you really need to go into the motion. And
Mhm.
I work with a lot of stops. I'm
Oh
stopping
yeah.
all the
Of
time.
course.
So it's too much of a contradiction.
Mm. But that's a beautiful story. You definitely have to write that story about
Yes, I already did. It's 2 years now that I'm been working with this. It
the.
takes time, but it's ready. Basically, it looks like it's ready. But yeah, it will be.
But but so your grandma, she made clothes and your mum made clothes. So you saw the machine. I mean, you were aware that they sewed.
No, not really. No, I never met my grandmother. She died before I was born. This machine for me, my mother was sewing here and there, but it's not what she did. And the machine for me was something hidden inside this old cupboard. There were the threads and the needles were there, but also lots of other stuff that there were. It was a little place to put stuff you don't want to see. So it was there. It was interesting, but I never touched it. I think when I was around 17, 18, my sister, she was. No, so when I was older, never mind. My sister started working with it for her studies. Then I saw it. Then I asked her to teach me
Oh, I
how to
see.
make a bag. Maybe when I was 20. That's the first time I tried to use it, but it didn't stick. It took me. I needed another go later on.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Now I'm so happy you discovered the machine, and I'm so happy you're making the pictures with the machine.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. So what else? So you do, this is mainly what you do now as an artist. And you said you
Yeah,
do hand embroidery as well.
yeah. I do actually. I do tons. I like materials. I like crafts. I like very basic materials mostly. Um, but the sewing is most of what I sell. This is most of what I live from. Um, I try. I love doing embroidery. I love working with wire. And I need a background, maybe my shirt.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, I
This
can
is my
see.
trunk.
Yes.
And cardboard, and there's loads of. I like lately. I've been drawing with Paint, this app on Windows, very old one. There's lots of things I discover, and I love them. I collect stuff from the street, and then I try to make something from them. There is endless possibilities that I always like to, to chase and to pursue. And some of them become something I can sell. Some of them just play around and or I enjoy them. So lots of craft that I do, but the main one is the sewing and or the embroidery as well. And that's what people know that I do. So it's easier from them to
Okay.
buy.
So do you do exhibitions, or how do people get to buy your artworks?
So right now we're talking from my home, which is also I don't know if we can show it here. It's also
yeah.
my studio back there, and if you can see at the end, it's the window. It's a big window, so
Yeah.
it's like I live in a little shop. So
Oh,
sometimes
that's
people
so
just pass by
nice.
here. That's fun, yeah. So people come here. People know me by now. I've been working for a long time. There's a street market where all of the videos are taking. That's where I go also. So people meet me there. I did some exhibitions. I'm not crazy for exhibitions. There's something very like you need. I don't know. I don't do it very often. I did
Okay.
some. It was fun. It was great. I like more spontaneous
Mm.
presentations. I've gone to Europe a few times. I've taken the machine with me. I've been in shows like Maison and Objet and or the Tendenze in Frankfurt. I like to put myself in different stuff. I really wanted to come for the Olympics actually now. That was a dream. And just sit with the machine and do what I see. It's not happening.
But
Seems like
that's
it's not happening.
wonderful. Yeah, I like that. That's a bit spontaneous as well. And then
Yeah.
people are drawn to that.
It feels easier. I would basically I prefer when art is just there. I feel like
Yeah.
if I go to the museum and I know I know I'm going to see the art and I look at stuff and I think what I think of it. But if I go in the street and I see some street art, that was a surprise. That caught me unready. And at the same time, I could pass by it and not see it. But if it caught me, then there's something stronger, I feel, because it was there.
You're so
And,
right. Yeah.
and I feel like it's an advantage over the museum where you go ready to what's the word to have to have this communication. But when you're not ready, when you caught off guard, it means you were more open. I don't know. That's how I see it.
I've never thought of that, but that's absolutely true. It happened to me. I went to Florence and I came across a small little shop where they do handmade things. And in this whole big city, that was the only thing I bought was in that little small little shop. And I never even, I didn't even know the place existed, but it's exactly. And I was so excited when I saw it. And exactly now that you're talking about this, I can totally understand what you mean. It was that experience that I had.
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. Like, so it usually brings me to more spontaneous places. I did do some shows. It's also great. I would also love to take the chance to do it. But I'm not one of I don't know. I just don't make too many shows. I've had a couple of shows with my mother. She's recently, or in the last few years, she's also got back to making and becoming an artist. And we had some in my parents' house. That was big fun, like 7 days show. But yeah.
You enjoy it like that. Many artists, they're so enjoying what they're doing, but are you a good businessman? Do you know how to run this, like selling and so on? Or do you just enjoy more making?
I'm not the best, but I'm much better than what I used to be.
Okay.
Much better. Sometimes I know, you know what, when I went, I think because I go twice, I go to this street art fair for 14 years now. And I love it. Sometimes it feels very small, or sometimes it's even insulting because I can be there the whole day. and it's very hot and humid, and and nobody really looked at me, and I can end the day with hardly any income. So it can be insulting, but at the same time, for 14 years, I go there, and I think it's really matured me in the sense of selling. Because sometimes I was in other places and I could see all these shy people putting their stuff out. It's a bit difficult to show something from the inside like that to everybody, to expose and to exhibit yourself, and at the same time think about money. Some people it's natural for them, for me not. But sometimes I can see that I have a lot of experience and I'm good with it. I was thinking a few times through my career to have somebody else taking care of the money issues, but never happened.
Okay.
Never happened. I don't know. I'm not sure I can do this.
Mm.
I'm
Well,
open for ideas.
yeah, I spoke to a sculptor once, and he said he would love somebody to take over that side of things so that he can just sculpt and do his thing. And I think for many artists, it's like that. It's like you really putting out some part of you. So it's your story with what you've created. So it it is not the same as selling somebody else's things.
On the other hand, I did have some of my pieces in galleries. And then one day they give me a call and say, "Yeah, you can come and collect your check. We sold this and that," and it's not as fun.
Oh,
This is
really?
not fun to collect money from a gallery. It's not even half the fun like selling something to the person that you see, and to have
Oh, yeah.
him be happy with what you sold. This is for me much better, and it's why I'm most of the time I'm there. I don't to have this middleman. It's for me it's not easy. I wouldn't want to miss it. I
Mhm.
want to be the center, basically. I want to be the center of everything. I want to be the center when I sell, when I do, when I get the compliments. I want to be there.
Yeah. And then you see where your artwork is going. So you meet the
Yeah,
person who's taking really a part of what you've created.
yeah, yeah.
Mm. No,
True.
I'm with you there. I think that's the right way to do it.
It's my way.
Yeah.
It's my way.
But tell me now, what are the wishes for you for the future?
First and foremost, to have peace and quiet here in the Middle East. This is not so
Yeah.
much up to me, but that's the first wish I will have. I'm willing to settle for this, but if I can get another wish, I'm not sure. Actually, the late drama in Israel is really changed how I look at life, so I'm not really sure. If you caught me a year ago, mainly I would still like to do that. I'm trying to get myself more traveling and to have to be working while I travel to see other. This is the best for me to meet people around the world, to bring my work and what I do and have a way to travel with it.
Yeah.
This is the best fun I enjoy. I happen to be able to do it few times, and it's lovely. That's I think my main. I want to enjoy and enjoy what I do with good reactions from people around. That's where I'm heading. So there's the little book in my head and different techniques that I'm enjoying and I would like to bring forward to a place where but everything seems very, yeah, I think mostly I would like to be able to travel a lot with my work and do it and enjoy it.
Do you have
Up.
specific countries where you would like to go?
So I've mostly done it in Europe so far, and it's fun, and I'm ready to also go back. Now, for instance, the Olympics. I love the Olympics, and it was my dream. And since it happens in France, which is pretty close to Israel, relatively, I was sure that I will be there. I'll bring my machine. I will find a place, and we'll just saw what I see the every day. And I tried many ways. None of them hooked up. And since what happened here in Israel in October, it sort of took my motivation away, and I stopped trying basically. Um, Japan feels amazing. I really want to
Oh
go to
yeah,
Japan. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, basically, I'm happy to go.
Anywhere where you, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had some ideas with like Australia, Brazil. I've had, I made a lot of because this street fair happens in a place where lots of tourists come by. So I've had these many talks.
What
So
about
far,
South Africa?
I'm good. I don't know. I've heard I'm not really good into politics. I've heard lately they're not so happy with Israelis. So I'm not sure. I have to see
Oh,
where I
oh, I
am.
see. Oh
I'm a
yeah,
peaceful man. I'm happy to go wherever.
yeah.
Just a couple of weeks ago, someone asked me to go to Dubai with them as a part of the delegation. They have few artists, and then I mentioned I'm Israeli. She didn't know, and she said, "Ah, no, no, you can't go there." I said, "I'm pretty sure I can, but we're not gonna." Like I look at the
Yeah.
flights. Anyway, it's now being Israeli is a little bit tricky, maybe, but I'm happy to go wherever.
Hmm. It's a
Um,
pity that people are so prejudiced like that, but you will go. You will go because you managed to do all these things that you've done so far. So this wish will definitely come true. I believe that.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah. But Amnon, I love 100% what you're doing. I have a sewing machine, so I can really
Ah.
appreciate the way you do it. That I would never even be able to do that. So it is such a great art, and that it all comes from within. And there's the storytelling with the needle and thread. I absolutely love it. I'm a big fan.
Thank you very much. Thank you
And
very much.
I hope you can come to Vienna one day. That would be so great. And
That will
otherwise,
be.
if ever I come to Tel Aviv, I'm going to look you up and come and see your shop.
Please, of course, you are very welcome to come. It's a really fun place to visit,
It
both Tel
looks
Aviv
like one. Yeah.
and my studio here in the north of Jaffa.
Yeah.
Yes, you're very welcome, and I would love to go. Actually, I did go to Austria quite a few times, but to the other side, to the
Oh,
mountains,
oh, I
Zillertal.
see.
Yeah,
Hmm. Well, you must come to Vienna. I think
okay,
people
I
will
must.
love your work.
I would love to.
Okay. Amnon, have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you very much. Thank you for taking the interest and time to interview me.
It's a great
And,
pleasure. Now, I really love what you're doing.
and let me know when you come to Tel Aviv.
I will. I will definitely. Yeah.